is going on, everybody? Welcome to podcast episode 20. Going to be joined today by the TruckerFy team, which is a solution for drivers and carriers alike to source driving positions. Whether you're a driver looking for a job or a carrier looking to hire drivers, this is going to be a new solution for you. Just before we hop into the show, let's get into the EF routing hauls of the week. Starting out with dry van, we got Los Angeles again, which seems to be a theme. Los Angeles is pretty hot right now, getting anywhere between $3 to $4 a mile all the way out to Indiana. Second runner up, San Diego to Stockton. A short run, again, $3 a mile average out there. Hitting into the reefer section, which is a little interesting. We got Georgia crossing almost $5 a mile at this point. So I'm not sure if the July 4th freight is coming through or not. But South Reefer's looking great. And again, you got the South flatbed loads heating up anywhere between $2.3 to $3 a mile. Heading into the best loops for reefer. Again, you got a lot of South freight. Interesting to see Denver on that list for reefers. But thanks to EF Routing's routing tools, you get about 150 deadhead miles on that loop. And you're ending off anywhere between 2.1 and 2.3 on the week. The best loop for flatbed. A little interesting on this one as well. Got a lot of west freight coming out of Las Vegas, going over to Stockton to Oregon, Oregon to Utah, averaging out again close to $3 a mile. Very minimal deadhead. And the best loop for dry vans again is going to be pretty much all south freight. Again, over $2 a mile with about $2.20 on the deadhead. So if you're a carrier, check out EF Routing to reduce your deadhead miles, improve your costs. Let's get into today's show. Oh, it'd be nice if I could figure out how to get Lev to be in the top. There we go. How's it going, everybody?
Howdy.
Hello.
Good to be here.
Got a full house today, the entire TruckerFy team.
Good to be here, Alex.
Hi, Alex.
Let's get into it nice and easy. I guess we'll go from left to right. I want to know, how did you guys get into logistics just before we get into your guys' current project?
So I got in via Manny. A friend of mine got me into a project at K&L Freight, and Manny was the COO there at the time, and so then Manny had a big idea. And we started talking about that, and next thing you know, we're building TruckerFy. So it's otherwise I didn't have any personal experience in logistics. I've done a lot of other different kinds of software applications, and so this is my first foray into logistics space.
Nice. I mean, you want to tell us a little bit about your background, maybe on the tech side of things, since from my understanding, that's sort of your role in this project.
Yeah, so I've been leading the development team on this project for quite a while now. My personal background is that I went to school and studied astronautics. So basically how to, put things in space and maybe bring them back again. Then moved out of Silicon Valley, did that for a while, and then moved into just pure software and been doing a bunch of database applications, networking. Then I ended up with a pretty long stint in market research, where I was CTO for a couple of market research companies. We did, opinion research and politics and consumer research, a lot of public opinion kind of stuff. And then more recently, and then I moved to Paris for a couple of years and worked on basically like the open table of Europe, which is this application called the Fork, the part of TripAdvisor. So we did a very large, two-sided market application with restaurants on one side and diners on the other side, matching them up, by dining preference. And
yeah, I mean, name dropping TripAdvisor is a pretty big name. So
yeah.
Also, the whole bringing things back from space is pretty new, but that seems to be a big craze these days. We used to only want to go up there. Now we want to come back with stuff. So.
Yeah, I think the coming back is the important part.
Well, Manny, let's get into it with you. How did you start your, logistics journey?
I was born into logistics, Alex. My brother had a trucking company in Juarez, Mexico. That's where I was born. So from a very early age, at 19, 20 years old, I was already running his fleet operation, where we had a big contract with Guess Jeans from Mexico to the U.S. taking textile rolls from the twill mills in the U.S. to Mexico and bringing back the finished product to Los Angeles. But make a long story short, I moved on from my brother's business and moved to Chicago, where for the last 20 years, that's where my really transportation and logistics career has flourished. I started out on the LTL side in the early 2000s and moved on to work on the shipper side with Fellows, running their transportation department. Fellows is the banker box and shredder box and the paper shredder boxes. Then went to work for TSG, small little brokerage in Chicago back in 2010. They then rebranded and called themselves Reewood Logistics, but I helped run their fleet division, freight exchange, and really I managed the capacity development side, which was the recruitment side of their operation, about 250 trucks at the time. And really that's where I was, throughout my career, I've been exposed one way or the other to recruitment, Alex, or responsible for recruitment, driver recruitment. So from Redwoods, where I really thought, this system really seems, the recruitment tools that we have available seem really antiquated, inefficient. Anyway, that's where the eureka moment came in for TruckerFy, and it just kind of lingered for a while until about 2-3 years ago we started building it.
Yeah, I mean, me and you got into that a bit, driver recruiting. If you're on the carrier side of things, you're going to run into it at some point, and it is kind of outdated, inefficient, the current. I was doing it for about 8 months very recently, and that was kind of what sparked, this relationship between us, this partnership, because I also noticed that there's definitely needs to be some improvement in the recruiting aspect of drivers. Michael, aka Bledsoe, so that's we just call him Bledsoe at this point. How did you get into logistics?
Well, before I tell you about me, I wanted to comment on my two partners here. Michel failed to tell you that he's also has 3 degrees from MIT, which I think is kind of important.
Hey,
he has more than Bledsoe and I put together. Yes,
he's a humble guy. He's sitting in the forest.
Very humble guy, just sitting there calm. But when they say it's not rocket science, it is rocket science when it comes to him. And Manny kind of dated himself by talking about Guess jeans there. So I think he's wearing a pair right now.
I'll tell you a funny story about Guess really quick. So in North America, the Guess brand has died off fairly long time ago. And I was in the market for a nice quality backpack about 2 years ago. And long story short, Guess is very popular in Serbia. And I'm the proud owner of a Guess backpack, which is hilarious to me because in North America, nobody would be caught dead with one. But over here, it's pretty cool. So.
That's funny. So my background is I had a small trucking company and a $10 million brokerage back in late 90s, early 2000. I sold that to Echo. I was the first company that they actually bought back in 2004. And they brought me in to build out their tech-driven managed freight division. They were basically a small LTL. They had a bunch of kids on the floor right out of college calling mom and pops and reselling LTL rates. They were trying to build a truck. They were trying to build a truckload division, and then they were also trying to build this technology based on the tech that they had at the time. It wasn't really anything that spectacular, but for the time, it was cool. So I spent 5 years there. We grew that division to about 40% of Echo's revenue. They went public. When they went public, I took my chips off the table and left. I was gobbled up by what's today Reewood Logistics. That was 2010. Same time Manny was there. They asked me to. They had one kid really smart who's still their current chief innovation officer named Eric Rimpel. Eric had some really cool technology that he was building, and he had an idea to build out a managed freight tech division. Wasn't sure how to monetize it. I was brought over to kind of do what I did at Echo. We built that up over 5.5 years. The same time, Manny and I worked together the whole time. He was managing the fleet. I was building the tech. 5.5 years later, they sold to private equity. I exited again. I've built a couple of apps similar to TruckerFy in some way. FreightHub I was co-founder of FreightHub. That was an app that did cross-border Mexico business. We were trying to match imports and exports, create round trips, reduce expenses to both sides. We sold that to private equity. And then I took the same technology across the coast and built matching dray guys, imports and exports out of the ports. sold that to private equity. And now I went to work with Manny at K&L. That's how I got to know the two of these guys. And Manny told me about his idea. I loved it and joined the team. That's the Reader's Digest.
How many times have you exited, Michael?
3.
I lost count.
Yeah.
You know?
So we got this MIT rocket scientist TripAdvisor. We also have Guess Jeans and the beginning of Redwood.
Model.
We also have another Redwood, a guy that's sold to Echo. I mean, this is a team that's been around, been doing a lot of crazy stuff. If you guys want to give us quickly, the elevator pitch on TruckerFy before we start getting into some serious stuff about it, just so the viewers kind of understand, what the goal is here for this company, this app, this community.
Yeah, I'll take it because I'm the guy that does the 2-minute or 1-minute elevator pitch. We can get into deep what the tech.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get into details. I just want to preface
all that
to the viewers.
That's Manny and Michel. We are basically, think of us as an eHarmony or a Match.com, right? We work the exact same way. So we create profiles, or the drivers create profiles on our app. We've made it very simple for them to do that. They can download it on any of the phones, the Google or Apple. They download the app and they fill out 20 questions, basically asking them some simple stuff. Where do you want to drive? What regions of the country do you like to go? How much money do you want to make? Tell us a little bit about yourself. Are you married? Do you have kids? You like sports? You like hunting? You like movies, etc. We try to personalize the drivers a little bit for the recruiters. And they answer all of these questions: preferences, types of trucks they like to drive, where they want to go, things they don't like, etc. And then, they can, once they fill all that out, they've got a profile. And now when they're looking for a gig, on the other side, the recruiters or the companies have filled out the same 20 questions saying, we're looking for a driver that's willing to go here, willing to go out for 14 days at a time, wants to make 10,000 or less, etc. And then we let the matching, the AI, the algorithms do all the matching. So the driver says, hey, I'm interested in getting a job. He hits match me, and he gets 20 jobs. And jobs say, this is a great match. This is a great match. This is a good match. This is not so good match. This is a poor match, etc. And the driver can look and say, yeah, I want to look at this one. He looks at it. It comes up, shows him the company, shows him all the details, how it matches. If he wants to meet them, he says, introduce me, and it sends it to the company. At this point, the app is free to the drivers. They've paid nothing for it. And the companies haven't paid anything to post jobs yet. As soon as they say, yeah, I want to meet this guy, once they look at it and they say, yeah, it looks interesting, they pay us. And that's the basic simple model and how it works. It's been very, very highly accepted by the drivers. They love it. And the recruiters and the companies are saying, wow, why didn't somebody do this before?
How big is your database of drivers? And how have you grown over the time that you've been in business?
So
we just launched. They just launched.
Yeah, we just launched 3 weeks ago. We are in the midst of closing our final round of raise, and the database. We have a lot of data on drivers and trucking companies, on the recruitment process. As far as number of drivers on the app, maybe under 1,000, and as far as companies using it, we're beta testing it with around 50.
Yeah, just to not date yourself there, Bledsoe, in case there's younger viewers, in case they didn't catch the eHarmony thing, Tinder would be like the new, new up-to-date version of that analogy.
Yeah,
this is more like Bumble.
A couple of trucking companies.
This is more like Bumble.
Yeah, it's more like Bumble.
Yeah, Bumble.
Because the drivers have
it's more personal.
Well, because the drivers are like the women in Bumble in the sense that they have to make the first move, and
right,
so it's not like you get hounded by recruiters just for posting a profile. It's like if the driver wants to talk to a carrier, then the carrier is the male in this analogy, and so it's much more like Bumble than.
But the truck driver is the cheater, right?
Completely forgot about the whole Bumble first move thing.
Yeah.
What was that, Lev? Sorry.
I was saying the truck driver is like the cheater. It's like Ashley Madison. Truck driver's in a relationship, but he's looking to find a new home.
No. That's not at all our brand proposition.
All right, let's get into it. What makes TruckerFy different? Obviously, the elevator pitch has highlighted a lot of those points. If you guys would just like to expand on it and kind of tell the viewers and drivers that are watching this, because that's what I'm passionate about and why I partnered with you guys, is that this does give the driver a lot more power in their job search. This also kind of, humanifies the driver. It makes them a person. It's not like they're just a number on a sheet. And it's not they're just a 4-question type of thing hiring them. But I guess whoever wants to take the lead on a little bit more in depth of what makes TruckerFy different.
Yeah, Alex, I think you hit it on the head. What makes us different, uniquely different, is that we involve the driver in the process, right? For the last, I'd say, half of a millennium, 500 years since the Gutenberg press, when we had newspaper classifieds all the way to online job postings, the businesses or the employers have always had the option to post their jobs and descriptively tell what they're looking for in a candidate. But in this case, what they're looking for in a driver. But drivers have never had that benefit, right? So 50% of the equation has always been missing, and that has hindered a match-based solution, right? Because we know what the carriers are looking for, but we've never known what those drivers out there want in a job. So that's what makes us different. We involve the driver in the process, and by knowing what their needs or what they're looking for, we're able to better match them up with great opportunities out in the market.
What do you guys do when, let's say, a trucking company, and this happens very often, right? They switch what they're offering. Do they just log in and they quickly use the app and change what they're offering?
Yeah, I love that. That's a great question. Yeah, that's a great question. The app is very user friendly, and it has the capability so you can edit the job at any given time if anything changes. So you can change any of the 20 plus job factors that we include in the match, and you can do that in real time. And once you do that, or the carrier does that, it automatically then matches them up with a new set of drivers that meet that hiring criteria.
Yeah, and their app is very, very well put together, Lev. I ran through a demo. It's available
I'm
on the
looking forward
App
to
Store.
checking it out soon. So
Lev, further on that question, one of the things that the carriers and the recruiters really liked about it is they can use it kind of as a practice to see what works better and what doesn't. So they get free analytics on that. We have unlimited free ads, right? So they can post the same job 10 different times in 10 different ways, using different words, different ideas, and see what works the best to attract drivers. They can see on the analytics, hey, when I did it this way, it really worked much better. I'm going to do it that way from now on. So they like that because they can't do that on any of the other job boards because they're paying per post or paying per ad or whatever it may be.
that's fantastic. How do you guys protect user data?
Michel, I'll let you answer.
That's the doctor.
So we are very, very focused on particularly driver privacy. There's no, like if you use LinkedIn, which most professionals do at this point, your public profile and photograph and name are visible, right, to anyone, even if they're not logged into LinkedIn or don't have a LinkedIn account. So you're always essentially findable on LinkedIn. In TruckerFy, you're not. Your presence, your name, your photo, your email, your phone number are all private until you decide that you want to share them with a carrier. So once you introduce yourself to your carrier, they get to see your name. They get to see your photograph if you posted one, or you could post an avatar, right? You don't have to post your real picture, but they never get to see your phone number or your email address until you give it to them. So if you're talking to a recruiter and recruiter says, hey, I'd like to call you and chat or maybe do a Zoom, then you would give that up, but you never give it up otherwise.
Yeah, that's cool because that eliminates all of that. Like if you get a bad vibe from somebody, chatting with them through the in-house messaging, like they don't have the ability to then harass you like more.
Right.
Well, we have a ghost feature, right, where you can ghost the carrier basically, or vice versa. So it's just you press a button, say I'm no longer interested.
Swipe left.
Job, and yeah. We didn't go that far. Challenge with Tinder as an analogy is that Tinder is more for hookups. I realize in trucking means something completely different, but it's it's a short-term thing. And one of the things we're trying to do is improve.
Hey, there's a lot of stories on the internet of people marrying people from Tinder. That's like a whole TV show at this point, I swear.
Yeah, but we're very focused on long-term relationships, right? Which is where the eHarmony very dated reference comes in, where we want the driver to stick around for a long time in the job, and if they're happier in that job and it's a better match than just some random Craigslist ad, then we think that's going to happen, and that's pretty important to us. But going back to the privacy question, I mean that's very paramount. The driver won't get contacted by a carrier until they introduce themselves. Like going back to the Bumble analogy, their phone number and email address are never shown unless they want to give them up. And there's other things too, like we have to satisfy all the national legislation around hiring laws, right? So there's nothing about your race or your marital status or your family status, because that's illegal to use as a hiring criteria. So we don't encourage that kind of stuff. I mean, you could but that's very limited for the drivers in terms of what they actually expose about themselves. It's really their skill set, where they want to drive, what they like and don't like. But it's not so much.
Dr. Floyd brings up a great point, guys. Sorry to interrupt you, Michel. We think it's not only an app that will aid in recruiting and help streamline the recruiting process, but also we think ultimately it will help with retention. Not sure if all the listeners out there know, but retention in the trucking world is horrible. It's 80-90% turnover on a yearly basis. That's what costs these trucking companies so much money. We think if the driver has more influence and more choice in the matter and is able to say, hey, here's who I am and here's what I'm looking for, and if the trucking company looks at that and matches, we think that it will help with retention, and hopefully that number comes down as well, the turnover rate.
How would you guys fight the fact that probably these truck drivers will leave within a year? Or, what are you going to do with guys that job really, really often and use your platform when you're trying to establish long-term viability, a long-term relationship?
No, that's a good question. We've been asked that question by many carriers that have signed up, and the true answer is what we want to do really well to begin with is align the driver's work preferences and work expectations with the carrier's operational and hiring criteria. If we do that and we match them up and align them as best as possible, we feel there's a good chance that that driver will stick around. But Lev, as you know, we can't control if a carrier loses a contract and that route's no longer available, or if the promise or if the job description does not align with actual daily routine for the driver. So there are it's a nuance.
I mean, it's still trucking at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's
and
a nuance.
lot of things out of people's control. So.
Yeah.
And sorry, just one more question. I'm really curious. Would you have kind of like Carrier 411 and similar tools? Can carriers leave feedback about the drivers, 5 stars and the other way around? Is that a feature that you have, or is it coming up? Or
so not yet. We have to be very careful about that, Lab, because we don't want to ruin anybody's reputation. So we have to be careful to balance that out and make sure we do it like two porcupines making love, very, very carefully. We don't want to mess everything up. So we are working on it. 9 out of 10 carriers bring that up, but we have not rolled out that feature yet. Because
that's the thing. Like you see with the Carrier 401 part, like it came out to stop something and for a good cause. Then it started getting abused, and I mean it's kind of tough because like carriers or drivers might have the ability to abuse that feature. And that is kind of like a tough position to be in, right? Because you want to have the ability to leave feedback, but then you don't want to open the door for abuse of the system. And then that's going to absolutely destroy somebody's future.
We haven't tackled that.
Drivers have asked about that. Both of them would like some type of rating system.
Yeah. I mean, we're a very data-driven company, and we're capturing a lot of data really about people's attitudes and people's preferences. So over time, we'll be able to tell the carriers much more about, as we get more data, we'll be able to tell them carriers much more about what is it about their jobs that's attractive to people or not attractive, right? If you have a carrier and they're not getting clicks on their jobs, it's like, well, in your area, your salaries are too low, or you don't allow pets on your, you don't allow your drivers to bring their dog along. And as far as that's kind of on the front end of the driver, hiring side. On the driver leaving side, there we have opportunities to capture data around, well, why did you leave that job, right? What was the thing that was the deal breaker for you, and then capture that and then feed that back, anonymized and on a large, in terms of large data.
To see patterns, right? If you see the same driver leave 3 jobs in a row, you'll be like,
I mean, I would, we're a young company. We haven't got to cross the chasm to the point where we have lots of drivers leaving. So we'll see what happens with that data when we get some of it, but we, as a culture, we want to use data to inform both the driver and the carrier as to what things are working well, what things are not, right? And
that segues us actually perfectly into the next question, which is, what feedback have you received from drivers and carriers so far? I know you guys have just launched, but I've talked to you personally. I know there's been some action, and like I said, it's a very promising concept. It's a great app. It's built very well.
Yeah, like I said, Manny, we launched 3 weeks ago, but Manny's been doing it together with Michel for over a year. I've been with Manny for 7 months. We're on the road talking to drivers, meeting with carriers, asking them, to jump on and be our beta testers. Literally, we have received 0 negative comments. Every driver that we've talked to has talked to 3 friends, 4 friends, and said, you got to get on this app. They love it. They love the idea. Other than yay, we love it, they may have said, hey, why don't you add this question or add this on there? And we've done that. We've said, you know what, that's a good idea. So we love talking to drivers. Carriers love it.
That's the thing with TruckerFy. It'll grow in power. It'll grow in usefulness to both sides as the numbers grow. It's one of those things that the more popular it gets, the more powerful it becomes. Right? It's a community at the end of the day.
Yep.
We had a carrier, when we did a demo a while ago, and they're after seeing the app, and it's like, well, we carry frac sand, and so but you don't have a truck type for that. You have flatbed and reefer and a van and a bunch of other trucks, and you don't have frac sand. So it's like, oh, okay, well, we forgot about that one. So we put in frac sand. 5 minutes later, the app was showing frac sand.
Honestly, never heard of that one, so that's the first for me.
Well. It's I think it's those big trucks that
I've heard of frac tanks, but not frac sand.
Frac sand.
Yeah, but
so
ultimately.
So they ask very specific questions like that, or like someone said, we want to show, we allow pets, but only up to
certain size,
50 pounds.
And only dogs, right? So little things like that.
Yep. Ultimately, Alex, from the driver's side, you mentioned that they like that we personalize it, that we humanize it, that we ask them about their core values, that we ask them about their interest. They understand contextually that makes a difference when they're looking for work, and the recruiters seeing that information. They love the map feature where they can choose the regions of the
map feature is my favorite.
They like that a lot. Obviously, they like the personalized matches in the palm of their hands. On the carrier side, Alex, from recruiters, from their mouth, they're saying, we love that we don't pay for a driver lead until we get to assess whether they're the right fit or not. Unlike other platforms, they charge you in advance. We won't say any names, but they all charge you. They ring that credit card, and then you end up with a bad lead. I wanted to change that. So you get to view a 360-degree profile of a driver as a recruiter, and then decide whether or not it's the right fit or whether or not you want to connect. So it really streamlines your screening process and really gives you back the time so you can focus on good drivers versus drivers that are not going to be a good fit. So that's coming from the recruiters.
Yeah, I mean, I love that part because when I went through the demo with you guys, you had that map feature where the driver can pick where they want to run. And for
Yeah.
the example you showed me, the guy was like, "Oh, I only want to run the West States." And me as a driver recruiter, when I was doing it for my carrier company, I would have been like, "Cool, I don't run ever in the West. Let me just skip this person, and I don't have to pay for it. I don't have to go through the headache of calling the guy and saying, 'Hey, where do you want to go?' And he's going to tell me, 'I want to be in the West.' I'm going to tell him, 'Oh, well, that's cool. You can't work here.' And it's just a waste of everybody's time."
And sorry to interrupt, Alex, but one more thing that's super important that was brought up by carriers is they love that we prioritize mutual compatibility versus advertising spend. What do I mean by that? Listen, if you're a carrier and you want your job to be visible, you got to start putting that coin inside, let's say, a Craigslist, and you got to elbow your way into that first page so your job has visibility. So their jobs will be seen only if they pay enough for them to be seen. With us, it's the complete opposite. We match them based on mutual compatibility, not advertising.
Going back to the Bumble thing where the drivers are more important in the
Yep.
process.
Yeah, we met with a carrier last week, and this kind of explains it, who was using another app. And, had responded to us saying, "Oh, I'm already using another app. I don't need you guys." And Manny asked him, "Would you just, look at the app and let us show you the app and, give us some feedback? We're always looking for feedback." He said, "Absolutely." Chicago-based guy, 250 trucks. About 10 minutes into it, he said, "I tell this other app I only want drivers in these 4 states." Right. And they send me multiple resumes, 50 resumes at a time at $50 a piece for guys from Alaska, guys from California, guys from Texas. Right. He said, "I'm using your app." He goes, "Sign me up. We're in."
So let's get into the whole sign up thing. How do you sign up as a carrier? How do you sign up as a driver?
Pretty simple, Alex. If you're a driver, you go and download the app from the Apple Store or Android Google Store, right? Simple as that. It takes 5 minutes to fill out your profile and instantly starts matching you with jobs. For a carrier, it takes 5 to 10 minutes. It's a web-based app. A desktop app, meaning for carriers, they have to open up through their desktop. We haven't built the mobile side yet for recruiters because, they work out of their desk.
They should be at an office. Yeah, the driver doesn't have that luxury. So.
Yeah, that's right. And it takes 5 to 10 minutes to register your company and post your first job. And remember, it's all free. The entire TruckerFy recruitment hub is all free. The only thing that we charge a small fee for is when you click, "Yes, I want to talk to this driver," after you viewed their profile. That's it. We're purely performance-based.
Beautiful. So simple, easy for both sides. Last question before we get into the presentation here. So where do you guys see TruckerFy in 3 to 5 years? My personal opinion, I think this is going to be huge. It's the revolutionary thing in driver recruitment. But where do you guys see yourself, in the short to near future?
I'll keep it simple, Alex. We want to be the go-to recruitment solution for the industry in the next 5 years. We want to take those 500,000 or million job postings out there in the country. We want to bring them under our roof, and we want to be able to match drivers against them in the next 3 to 5 years. Just an easy way for drivers and carriers to efficiently meet each other under our platform.
Yeah, just to communicate simpler and for the driver to have a voice in the process.
Alex, if I may, just one more question to Manny and the team here. What do you think within the next 3-5 years will be the biggest speed bump that you will meet?
The biggest speed bump we will meet? Well, that's a good question.
And I'm sure you'll overcome it, but what will the biggest speed bump be?
I don't think it's in the next 3 to 5 years. I think it's now, right?
In order for growing the community, honestly.
Yeah, I think this platform's built off of network effects, which Alex is referring to a lot. So it is, to me, the biggest challenge is scaling the platform and bringing enough value to both the driver and the carrier so they can find enough opportunities inside our platform to continue to use it. And the way I like to say it, Lav, is we're going to grow one match at a time. And that's the challenge. We want to earn the drivers and the carriers' trust. And that's one match at a time. And that's a challenge. But with the driver and the carriers community, we feel very confident that we'll be able to achieve it.
Great answer. And let's hop into the presentation. Yeah. Whichever one of you is going to take the lead on that, just direct me through the slides.
Yeah. Bledsoe, you want to take it? You want me to take it?
Sure. I got it. So I'm glad we're doing this because I don't know if everybody out there understands the marketplace, but there is no current way for drivers and carriers to efficiently find each other. If I'm a driver in Chicago today, just between I'd say Craigslist, Indeed, and ZipRecruiter, there's 10,000 jobs listed. So I'm going to look for a job. I've got to go through. Basically, I'm going through the classified ads on the back of the Tribune or the Sun-Times, right? I'm going on the internet and saying, okay, here's 10,000 jobs. And you just start going through. And at some point, they get bored and they say, screw it, I'll just take this 100th job I've looked at. So you got 140,000 trucking companies. It's online postings are over 1 million across the U.S. You've got 2 million drivers with 0 driver profiles. So these guys are just going through classified ads looking for jobs. That's the problem that Manny brought to me and said, there's got to be a better way.
And you guys have since changed the number from 0, so I'm happy to hear that.
So, I mean, this number can be, we've had companies tell us 50, 60%, which means they're doing really, really well. I had a buddy of mine that has a trucking company up in Buffalo, New York. He said he's 110%. He loses on a regular basis. He's constantly.
I was seeing the turnover in this market being anywhere between 5 and 30 days, to be honest. Like drivers would come in, realize that maybe it's not for them or this or that, and they would just find the next one. And then like the job hopping in this market has been a lot higher from personal experience.
Yeah. We hear 80, 90, 100%. If you want to call it an average of 70% turnover, these guys are spending a lot of time and a lot of money trying to get drivers.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So there you go. This is just, Manny runs numbers. He knows numbers better than anybody. On average, 2 times a year, right? So these guys get in there, and then the company says, well, we're not doing 1099 anymore, or we lost that contract. We can't run out west anymore. You're going to have to do Midwest or whatever it may be. So they're switching on average 2, some guys 3, 4 times. It's a problem in the industry. Go ahead.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So very true. Finding the right drivers, like finding a needle in the haystack, right? Generic job listings, as I said, it's like you're in the back of the Sun-Times looking for jobs and just listed job after job after job. There's no matching capabilities, just impersonal job ads, 0 profiles online.
Yep.
We said, what can we do to fix this? 2-sided AI-driven platform matching drivers and carriers based on mutual compatibility. Just like we were talking about, we basically, it's Tinder, it's Match.com, whatever you want.
Harmony.
You got it. Where, the driver has a say in what he's looking for. The company has a say in what they're looking for. And they get a match, and it's either a great match, a good match, or a weak match. And they can look at it and find out why, what fit, what didn't fit, etc. But we're taking the heavy lifting away from the recruiters instead of them, getting on the phone every 5 minutes or every 45 minutes if they're on that long and talking to these guys or going through a bunch of listings. We're doing that for them. We're saying, hey, here's a hot lead. Here's a great match for you. And this guy has reached out and said he wants to talk to you. Same thing with the drivers. We go through those 10,000 listings and we say, here's the top 20 that are all great matches.
Yeah, it's a great system. It takes a lot of the legwork out of it for everybody, to be honest.
Yeah. You asked earlier, what was the feedback? Why do drivers love it? They really like the fact that we personalize it. I'm consulting with a trucking company in the last several weeks, and they have a room where their drivers come in. I've been talking to drivers every other day, and I just say, hey, do you mind downloading my app? Hey, we're doing this. Just unbelievable responses. And the one thing they're saying is, I love this. Now they know who I am. They know something about me, and they know what I'm looking for. And they also like the private messaging because now they're not getting bombarded with emails or phone calls. It's all in the app. So they can
that was my favorite part. They can turn on and off the whole getting bombarded with calls and emails and telling people to call them later. They can just open the app and engage in their search when they want to. And that's a big thing.
That hits home for them. They like that. And then they'll say right away, yeah, now my phone's not ringing up like crazy while I'm driving. I can decide when I want to get back to them in this private messaging.
the ghost button is that little button on the top right there. This I am no longer interested. Quite
There
small
you
on the screen,
Yeah.
but that's you click that, and it sends a polite message to the carrier saying, "I'm sorry, I'm no longer interested in this job."
You
Boom.
guys should feature a little ghost for the younger generation of drivers that are getting into the industry. I'm sure they would.
That's a good idea. Let's write that down, Michel.
Yeah, a ghost
Yeah.
icon instead of an X.
Yeah.
Now, why do the carriers love it? We talked about that throughout the show as well. They're getting pre-qualified leads, and they're pre-qualified. They're actually, I've said a couple times. So we're giving you warm leads when talking to carriers. They said I consider them hot leads. Because number one, you're telling me it's a great match, and number two, the driver actually reached out to us. So he said I consider them hot leads. They like the unlimited job posting, as I said. No charge for any, they can list the same job 5 different ways. And, and again, get some analytics on what's working and what isn't working. They like the driver rank and the matching, whether it's, great, good, poor. They don't get that with anybody else, and everywhere else they're paying for ad, they're paying some type of subscription, no matter what, they're paying for a bunch of bad leads.
Yeah, they don't have to pay $1 unless they want to talk to that driver, and that's another huge feature of this,
That's right.
this system.
That's right. Yep.
And so again, I want to emphasize that not only are we, doing a greater job and taking an antiquated system of recruitment and hopefully making it better, and we're streamlining it, we're making it faster, easier, less expensive. But we really believe, and we'll know a year from now and 2 years from now as we get more data, we think it will lower turnover as well.
Right. That's right. Yep.
That's
it.
us.
That's us.
Download it now
app
on the
driver.
Google Play Store, the Apple App Store. If you're a carrier, get on your Google machine and get involved with TruckerFy.
That's right, Alex.
Hey guys, one quick question. First off, thank you for coming on and showing us this wonderful app. And I really want to know the truth from the three of you. Do you guys have honest aspirations, to, take it from TruckerFy to DispatcherFy and et cetera, et cetera?
No, so we do have ambitions and aspirations, but we want to do one thing right, Love, and that's match drivers with carriers. It's better than anyone else. Okay, we want to be the Google for search. We want to be the Google for search. We want to be the TruckerFy for the recruitment, the match for recruitment, driver recruitment.
They want to be the iPhone of truck driving recruiting.
Yeah.
They don't have to be the first in the market, but they want to be the best in the market.
Now, what's interesting though is that we have been approached about international expansion, and yet we got to start in the U.S. first.
Yeah, you gotta get your boots on the ground. You gotta take care of what you guys wanted to take care of originally and do it well. That's a good thing rather than trying to grow too big too fast and diversify yourselves.
There's a Napoleon saying that says we're going to take it slow, we're in a hurry, we're going to do things right. We're not going to try to boil the ocean. We're going to go one driver, one carrier, one match at a time.
Beautiful. Well, thank you guys for everything. We got to get into the last segment of the show, which will take about 2 minutes from all three of you. And then we have one guest staying on for the rapid fire segment. But we got to get into Chicken Wing Choices, which is sponsored by Fair Trade Workforce with founder Vince Gonzalez. They offer bilingual logistics employees at a recession-proof rates. They also offer virtual assistants for other sectors. But we're going to start with Michel here. This is regarding chicken wings. Not sure how familiar all of you are with this segment, but are you a drums or a flats kind of guy, Michel?
I like the thighs, but that's not part of the wing. So yeah, I guess the drums on the wings, right? So
okay, drums. Yeah. I mean, you could be a thigh guy too. That's fine.
I was thinking about the entire chicken, but okay, if you're restricted to the flying part, I'll go with the drum part.
Drums. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I got this one fly who won't leave me alone. Are you a ranch or a blue cheese kind of person?
On chicken wings, probably blue cheese.
Blue cheese. And breaded or non-breaded?
Oh, non-breaded.
Non-breaded. Okay. I mean, that's
but
fair. Blue cheese a lot of
spicier the better. I mean, if you put me on that hot wings show, then that would be fun.
Yeah, so I've actually been alluded to that, the hot ones. This segment sort of is kind of that, but in the logistics space. But I'll give you points for blue cheese and drums for sure. You can keep the non-breaded part, that's fine. But Manny, how about you? Drums or flats?
No, I think I've had high fidelity for drums for the last 20-something years. So
yeah,
drums.
Great. Ranch or blue cheese?
Yeah, I'm pretty traditional ranch.
Yeah, blue cheese is an acquired taste. I won't take points there.
Yes.
Are you breaded or non-breaded?
You know, I swing on both sides there.
I like both. Fair. Mix it up. You can mix it up. That's fair.
I can mix it up. Yeah.
Finally, Bledsoe, drums or flats?
You know, I'm going to be the odd man out here, and I struggle with this constantly because I am a wing guy. I'm a flats guy, and everywhere I go, I ask, can I order all flats? 90% of the places say, nope, you got to do the mix. So I end up ordering 2 orders of wings and have them put the flats in one box and the drums in another, and I give the drums away.
Jesus, that's the most complicated answer I've ever heard to that question. But I love it. I like the energy, man. I like the energy, and I like how specific you are about chicken wings. That was great.
Yeah, and they're either lemon pepper or mango habanero. That's it.
Okay, and if you got to pick ranch or blue cheese for a dipping sauce, which one are you going?
Blue cheese.
Blue cheese, great. And please say breaded, but breaded or non-breaded?
No, non-breaded.
Oh, that was a curveball. I thought you were going to go breaded there.
No,
thank you, Michel. Thank you, Manny. It was great to meet you, Michel. It's our first time meeting. Good luck with the TruckerFy thing. I'm happy to be a partner with you guys. Great people. And that's it, for your guys' show. We got Bledsoe staying on to do rapid fire.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Lev. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Guys.
Nice to
Have
meet
a
you.
great rest of your day, guys. All right, let's kick it off with rapid fire, hosted by Lev, the former founder of Everest, current president of Alpha SR, a staffing agency for the logistics space. Let's get into rapid fire.
Mr. Bledsoe, welcome. I'm going to give you another 3 seconds for your last stretches here before we start the segment called Rapid Fire. There's going to be 2 games. The first one's either or. We want to get to know you a little bit better from all different sides. So,
quick one. You're gonna have.
So, are you ready?
I'm ready. Shoot.
All right. Inside sales or outside sales?
Outside.
Dry van, reefer, flatbed.
Drive in.
Would you rather hang out with Hunter Biden or Donald Trump?
Neither.
Broker or asset carrier?
Broker.
Chocolate or vanilla?
Mixed. I always get the swirl on the ice cream cone.
Baked potatoes or mashed potatoes?
Baked.
Dat or truck stop?
Dat.
Free lunch or free dessert?
Free lunch.
Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks?
Ooh, Starbucks.
Android or iPhone?
iPhone.
Golf or football?
Didn't hear that.
Golf or football?
Oh, well, I don't golf anymore, so football.
Tequila or whiskey?
Tequila.
What's your favorite brand?
I don't know that I have a favorite brand. Any tequila works for me.
Google Suites or Microsoft 365?
Microsoft.
Burger or hot dog?
Burger.
Introvert or extrovert?
Extrovert.
Flying or driving?
Flying.
Spirit or Frontier?
Ugh. Neither.
United, American, or Delta?
American.
Budweiser or Miller Coors?
Miller.
Comedy or horror?
Comedy.
Would you rather be on a dating show or survival show?
Dating.
Give us a little bit more context to that.
Yeah, well, I'm putting these. My last three.
I can't stop laughing. That made me laugh so hard, man.
I'm into matching, so I'd do the dating and I try to match myself.
Beautiful. And in all honesty, what's your favorite dating app out there? You've obviously probably looked at some of them when putting TruckerFy together.
Yeah. I liked actually the way Tinder worked, and we laughed about it. We have had several guys when we were showing carriers, especially. They said, "Well, it's kind of like Tinder," And then, there might have been a couple of partners in the carrier business, and they'd start arguing, how do you know about Tinder? You're married. Why are you on Tinder? And it was just hilarious. So most of the guys we've all talked to have associated it with Tinder. So probably Tinder. We say Match.com and eHarmony just because it's a little, first of all, our crowd is truckers that are older probably, right? So I don't know that they know Tinder or don't know Tinder. So we're probably playing to a little bit of an older crowd.
I think you guys definitely got to go with Michel's Bumble in the next 5 to 10 years, though. Since the newer generation will be. I like Bumble. That's a good analogy.
Okay. Nothing on there.
Trucking through a snowstorm or navigating rush hour in Chicago.
Oh, God. Yeah, I don't like driving in snowstorms, so I'll say the dealing with the rush hour traffic. I hate driving in the snow.
All right. And last question. Are you a night owl or an early bird?
Night owl.
Beautiful.
Anybody that works for me will tell you that. They'll like, why are you texting me at 2 a.m. in the morning? That's when that's when my mind works the best.
And if you were to give a 10-second recipe for success.
What is it? Theory of success?
A recipe for success. You've done it all. Sure.
I have. You know what? It's a couple of things. Number one, work hard. 2, be passionate, which has always been my thing. And third, Manny and I have discussed this many times, and it's where TruckerFy came from. When we both read a lot of entrepreneurial books. Find a problem that exists out there in the world, a problem that you care about, that you're passionate about, and isn't fixed currently, and try to find a fix. My younger son was a troublesome one at times. He's not anymore. He's a great kid, but he didn't like school, and I'd bust him. He'd say, "Don't worry about it, Dad." I said, "I'm going to be very successful. I'm going to invent something that hasn't been invented yet." He said, "Okay, well, that's a good attitude."
Strong, very strong.
That's kind of what we did with TruckerFy. We looked at this, and it's interesting. At conversations we've had with guys like you, carriers, drivers, truckers, everybody said, "Why hasn't that been invented yet?" Because we're the first guys. Everybody thinks that it should have been, could have been. Why? And I've been asked that question thousands of times.
Well, thanks for completing 1 out of 2. You're 50% done with rapid fire. Here's the second game. It's called First Thought. First thing that comes to your mind, you have 5 seconds to answer. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
What celebrity influencer would you want to have on your team, and why?
Which influencer? Bill Gates. Genius, great attitude, smart guy, good guy, nice guy. Bill Gates.
All right. Who is your best friend on LinkedIn?
Manny the Alba.
What comes to mind when I say retirement plan?
Work.
Most important sales.
I tell my kids I'm retiring all the time, and they laugh.
What is the most important sales metric?
Success.
Anything more granular?
No, it's not.
That's a cold answer. That's such a cold answer. I love that answer. Like, yeah, just success, man.
Yeah, I tell my sales guys all the time. They'll say, "Can I come in at 10 a.m. tomorrow?" I don't care if you even come in. Just close a deal. I'm not looking at the time clock. I'm not having you punch clock. I had my entire career I've taught and mentored and trained salespeople. And that's been my attitude. It's not about the number of calls. It's not about the number of hours. It's not about any of that. It's about success. So
quality over quantity.
Absolutely.
So, all right, we'll carry on. Favorite color?
Blue.
Favorite salad dressing?
Italian.
Favorite athlete?
Muhammad Ali.
Favorite artist of all time?
Picasso.
Favorite Thanksgiving dish?
Ham off the bone.
Favorite city?
Chicago.
Favorite federal holiday that you get off?
Christmas.
Biggest regret?
No regrets.
Celebrity crush?
Jennifer Aniston.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Favorite historical figure?
Abraham Lincoln.
Favorite logistics company outside of yours?
Redwood.
Excellent. Just a couple more side questions, but congratulations on finishing up. What do you say is the weirdest thing about you?
The weirdest thing? Oh, wow. Yeah, I haven't decided what I'm going to be when I grow up.
That's fantastic. And tell us your favorite joke.
Of course, I'm going to go blank on this one. And I do have, I am a joke teller, and I do have a lot of.
I want to be here for this joke part.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank now. Yeah, I don't know if I can answer
Come on,
that.
Bledsoe. You got a joke in there, man. You're
That's
a funny
fine.
guy.
I'll throw another one at you. Pretend,
All
it sounds like you've been happily married for many, many years and have a beautiful family. But if you were to do it again, I'm talking about your wedding, and you had to throw a freight wedding, what would it look like?
So I'm not happily married. I'm very happily single. Was married. Was married and have 3 wonderful children that I'm very close to, and I'm actually very close with my ex-wife. We are friends. I don't know that I would do it any differently than what we threw. We threw one of the most magnificent weddings ever at the Drake Hotel, and we honeymooned.
But if your wedding had to have a freight theme to it, how would
it had to have a what?
A freight. Freight.
Oh, a freight theme?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that would be cool. We could probably drive into the location in a 53-footer, and but pulling a flatbed and maybe set up the whole wedding on the flatbed.
Love it, love it. Well, thanks for playing. It's been a pleasure getting to know you. This last hour, and we look forward to having you back.
Yeah, good talking with you guys. Appreciate Alex, you getting us on the show.
Thank you, Bledsoe. Thank you to Michel and Manny. Thank you to TruckerFy for this partnership. And thanks for doing something for the drivers, because I know this will help the carriers as well. But the drivers really needed something, to work in their favor. And I think this is going to be it.
Yeah, like I said, I sit with drivers every day, and Manny and I were on the road meeting guys. I see them more now because I'm working at this trucking company, and they're there every day. These guys, they're good guys, and they're salt of the earth. You know who they are. And some are worse than others, but they look at this thing and they talk to me and they go, "Thanks, man. Thanks for the, I appreciate this. I'm going to do it. I've got 2 brothers that are drivers. I'm going to tell them about it. I'm going to tell my best friend John about it." They all, they're thankful, and I think it will make a difference. Manny and I are both extremely passionate about it, and that's why I think we're going to have success here.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are just good people, man. Good project, good people, really smart people with a lot of knowledge behind it. And I have no doubt that this will become what we all think it will be. So thank you guys again for your partnership and your time today.
Yeah, cool.
Have a good rest of your day, Bledsoe.
Take care.
And that's it for podcast episode 20. Check out TruckerFy in the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. If you're a carrier, check it out on their website. It's all free to sign up. It's all free to make profiles on both sides of things. Have a good night, everybody.